Welcome, everybody, to the ALF Operations Podcast, where we talk compliance, operation, and whatever else is going on in the assisted living world. Presented by ALF Boss. In this episode, I thought it would be a good idea to talk with someone who has just went through the process of opening up a facility. I'm chatting with Tony, who's opened up 3 facilities, Bella Vita, on the West Coast, and we're going to chat with him through the whole process, from thinking of the idea to getting it together, building it, opening it, and operating it. I hope you guys enjoy. I want to welcome our first special guest, Mr. I hope I can pronounce the last name proper, Damiano.
That's correct, Pascal.
Oh, bingo, I got it. Awesome. So I thought you were my Canadian brother, but now you're telling me you're Italian, so that's a whole different story, right? You were born in Canada.
I was born in Canada. Still a Canadian brother. Parents are from Italy, or originally.
Awesome. All right, so Tony has opened, I think you're up to 3 facilities now?
That's correct. Yeah.
In a span of 2 years, I believe, right?
Yeah, we opened up our first one October 2019, but we started working on it in October 2018. So it took almost a year to purchase the property, rehab it, and get it ready. So it's going to be almost 2 years.
Awesome. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. So 3 facilities in 2 years. That's kudos to you. That's a really good job in my book.
Yeah, a lot of work with my wife Mirella. We've been working hard these last 2 years. It's been fun.
All of it's been fun.
Well, I guess we'll get through that as we continue our conversations.
I'm just busting you. I gotta ask you though, are you guys done partying over there yet? Over in Tampa?
You know what? I live in Harbor Island downtown, and I'm usually in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock, and they were partying till 3, 4 in the morning. So I wasn't too happy yesterday morning, but I wasn't part of those 13 million people that didn't come to work. I came to work.
You came to work.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that side. I'm a Dolphins fan, but congratulations.
We cannot be perfect, right?
Yeah, that's true. So you kind of gave me a brief rundown on your facilities, what you've accomplished. Can you give me a little bit of insight of your previous life? Now, when I say previous life, I mean before ALF life, because ALF life we all know is a whole different life. So tell me in your previous life, what you were up to.
So, like we said, we were grew up in Montreal, me and my wife. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, always been in business since I was 16 years old, actually, probably even since 12 years old, starting mowing lawns for the neighbors and, bringing newspapers door to door back in the day when newspapers were a thing. I got into construction. We used to do a lot of sewers and water lines back in the day in Canada. And I always dabbled in real estate. I would buy a house in the winter because it would slow down and just renovate it and, try to sell it or rent it out. When we moved here, before we moved to Florida, in 2010, when all the opportunities were coming up with all the issues and, that the government, like, in the U.S. went through a hard time. Everybody knows 2008 and 9. I came in 2010 looking for somewhere to invest. I went up and down the coast, and we ended up in Tampa. And we've enjoyed the experience ever since. We bought our condo here in 2013, and we moved in full time in 2017.
Cool. All right. So that kind of gives us a brief background. Now, my biggest question is always, when was the napkin moment? When you're jotting down ideas, and when did the ALF thing come into the picture?
So we always looking for an opportunity. Back in 2010, 12, it was very easy to get into real estate and keep rentals and that it makes sense. So I'm like Wayne Gretzky. I always go where the puck is gonna go and not where the puck is right now. So I find that when we got into the ALF industry a couple of years back, we knew that there's going to be a big demand coming up because there's 77 million baby boomers out there, and they're still not our residents. Right now, it's the parents of the baby boomers that are our residents in the ALF world. So 10,000 people are turning 65. 4,000 of them are turning 85 every day. And, 70% will need senior living in one way or another. They will need, assisted living or anything that has to do with the assisted living. So we decided to get into the real estate part of it, that it would make sense. And then after we realized that owning the business also, it's a double whammy. We could make the money on the real estate side, and hopefully, as we're starting to see now, that we could also make the money on the business side. But that's not the biggest reason we got into the ALF. Yeah. It's all about, the big why. Why do we do this? At the end of the day, we do this to give back, because we are at a certain stage in our lives that we want to do good, we do well, and at the end of the day, if we could give back and create a legacy for our next generations, then it's a win-win.
True, I agree with you on that. Let me continue on the napkin moment, though. You're an entrepreneur, of course, first. So as far as the napkin moment, like, where did you get the figures from? You had to play with figures a little bit and say, hey, this is going to make sense. This is a good venture to get into, or this is not a good venture to get into, right?
So we took a small course in Arizona, and it taught us a little bit about the numbers part of the ALF. And we figured that owning the real estate, we could have got 2 or 3 times the rent that we could have got if we just wanted to rent it to a normal family or a regular family. So as we were figuring out the numbers, we said, this is like a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. What we're doing as a 3-pack has the advantages of taking like different expenses, and because we own 3 of them, we're able to cut a little bit on the expenses. We also have an administrator full-time. We have 24-hour staff. So these are all things that are pretty hard to do when it's just a 1 6-bed, because ours are 3 6-bedders.
Correct. So, one of my big things is always the formula. I'm sure you did your due diligence. When you have less beds, like you open up a 6-bed, it's very tough to turn a profit margin unless you're doing everything yourself. Did you find that in your research as well?
Definitely, that's correct. Now, obviously, we are in a little bit on the higher end here in Carrollwood area, where there's no way that the numbers will work at $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Also, the fact that we didn't want to work the day-to-day, we want to work on the business and not in the business. We needed to find a strategy to have more beds with, without going into the commercial line and without going into bigger stuff. So 6 beds, if you want to do it yourself and, be your own caregiver, be your own administrator and work 24/7, you'll make a nice living. But that wasn't where we wanted to go. So by doing the 3 times 6, that's 18 beds. So we're almost running it like an 18-bed ALF. Yes, we have a little bit more property tax because we have 3 properties. We needed to get 3 generators instead of just 1. But that's, at the end of the day, it's that one administrator who takes care of the 3. And we're able to, from one location to another, in case that something happens, because something always does, we're able to turn around and get it done. While we only have 1, well, then you're limited in the resources and in the way you could get things fixed. Make sense?
Definitely. And you mentioned a little something about operations. So let's go ahead and jump into that a little bit. So you're kind of like my parents. So my parents opened up their facility back in '89. They didn't have a clue about operating a facility. Never operated a facility. Didn't even know anything about it whatsoever. They've come a long way. What did you do to educate yourself and to get yourself ready for this big change in your life?
The first and foremost, we took the core training even before we even knew if we were on to get into this. We took the core training, and we are both certified, me and my wife, because we wanted to know the operation part of it. We did rely a lot on a consultant, the first one that we opened, because there's a lot of hurdles to get through. And if you don't have somebody, at least my experience, if we don't have somebody holding you by the hand, you could get it done, but we like to do it faster. So that was the fastest way for us to get it done, by following a consultant, all his recommendations, and just rolling through the process to get it done. But the most important for us was to know what the business was about. So that we learned a lot through the core training. And we did pass our exams.
And you were, I did see you doing your research. You did reach out to me. You drove out one time all the way across the West Coast, come on over to Broward County. I was like, whoa, this guy's serious. And then I bumped into you at the Follow convention. I saw you you were everywhere. And this is before opening. You were just trying to absorb everything you could. You were trying to put yourself around people that were in the business. And I think that's definitely aided in your success, because you have a lot to learn in a short period of time, and you were able to do it by mingling with the right people and talking to the right people and putting yourself in the right position. So definitely, I think you would recommend that to others that are thinking about getting into the business.
Definitely. You're not going to do it just from sitting at your desk. You got to be out there. I know we're in a pandemic right now, but it's easy one way or another to get out there and just talk to people, and don't be scared to ask. That's what people are there for. And that was one of my biggest surprises, how people are helping each other in this industry. We never had that in other industries. Everybody was cutthroat. They're all worried about themselves and no secrets and no nothing, because they always wanted to have the advantage. So far, what I've seen here and our experience, people are there, and they're not helping you for an ulterior motive. They really helping you because they want to.
And that was not around for the longest. That's just come into the picture. I think social media has helped a lot with that. But that was not our industry. You go back, it was cutthroat. Everybody was out for themselves, and it's just totally different now. And I love it. It's amazing. Everybody's helping each other, and that's how we're going to succeed. So I love that part.
You get more done in a group than just by yourself. I've noticed that.
And exactly.
I've always preached that.
Exactly. All right. So in this first year of operation, what has been your the biggest hurdles, the biggest things that, as far as let's talk about opening. What was your biggest hurdles to get this thing open, get running?
So to get it opening, obviously the county requirements was a big challenge. Now, not because it's just because a lot of them they don't know what they're doing. Maybe it's getting better, but my first place, you would go see one person, he says you need this. Then you go see the next person a week later, and no, I don't need that. I need this. So it took us almost a year to get through permitting, renovating, getting it open. Excuse me. This should have took not more than 4 months, because our third one, we bought the home in November, end of November, and that was during the pandemic, because the pandemic started in February, and we were ready to open in August. So that's what it should take. It should take 6 to 8 months, but the first one took almost a year.
Yeah. I hear this throughout the state in all the different counties, especially when it comes to the fire codes and the fire equipment they want you to have. One guy says this, next guy says that. It's definitely a lot of red tape that, like you said, it's individuals that are, I almost want to say some of them might be uneducated. They're not on the same page. We'll put it that way. One guy says one thing, next guy says next, and
The experience I had was after we did the first one, when I did the second one, I was reaching out to the county and says, we need this. And almost to the point he was saying, no, we don't. I go, no, hold on. And I was showing him the Florida statutes that say, 6 residents is considered a residential permit and not a commercial permit. And I was almost educating them once the second one came around, because I learned from the first one. And what we should also try to have is the other issue I lost was with ACA, when it came to giving us our license. They wait for everything to be done, the fire inspection and the DOH and all that stuff. And only then we're able to apply for a license. There's got to be a way that we could apply earlier. They come and do their due diligence, because once we're ready for their initial visit, they don't really even look at the house. They just make sure that everything is done. So why can't we not shave 2 months off the whole time frame and let them come in and just conditional that after we give them the fire inspection, all that would save 2 months. I've noticed even through the third one, we just lose 2-3 months for no reason at all, and cash is money. And
I mean, I've definitely seen the frustration from many people, and it's like they're almost fighting for themselves. Either they have to hire an expensive attorney, or they have to try and do research and try to find the statutes and all this stuff to show the actual people making the decisions. So I will definitely agree with you on that and concur that lots of time is wasted upon opening. Frustrations. It's almost some people, I've seen them even give up. They're like, I can't win, which is, it's terrible, so let's jump into operations a little bit. In this business, you learn something new every day. I still do. No day is the same, but what has been the biggest issue, let's say, that you have faced during operations?
Definitely the biggest issue is the staff. And I never thought it was going to be that complicated. The turnover of staffing. We pride ourselves on having, a nicer home, brand new home. Our homes are brand new. We all have private rooms, private bathrooms. It's a pleasure to work in our home, and I'm sure it's a pleasure to work at all the homes. But just the issue of the turnovers is something that I would have never imagined.
Why do you think that is, Tony?
I would want to say it's salary, but it's not, because I think we pay a little bit more than what everybody else is paying.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to say also is it just the generation of, it's not different. It's different from our generation where we stayed on a job 30 years. Now it's, that person is offering 25 cents more. Let me go see. Or do they get bored? It's not that they're coming to our industry and then they leave me for a whole different industry. They're just going to the ALF down the road. And up to today, I still can't figure it out. Why?
I don't have an answer for it either. I just know it took me many years. I struggled with different staffs, many years, changing. And eventually, somehow, a magical moment, the perfect team came together, and now they're very tight knit. And it's like, they don't want to let each other down. It's almost a family. Don't ask me how we did it, but it came together, and we're there, knock on wood. So I've had I actually have some staff from me since we opened. So I have like one staff member over 30 years. He's still with us. He was actually our first staff member. He's still around, but frustration, but once you build a team, it's almost like if somebody joins a team that doesn't blend in, they'll leave. They're not the right fit. So from my experience, you got to get the right fix. You got to get the right ones to mesh. Takes time and luck. There's no secret, I don't think, to it, unfortunately. And it is a big issue. And luckily, you're in an area where the population's pretty high. I'm in South Florida, population's pretty high. Other facilities, like in these lower population areas, oh my God, staffing is a disaster. They have to hire whoever comes in, and it's just bad situation, so.
No, thank God we do have some staff that want to work with us and stuff, but it's just, again, I've been all years with the pandemic. Has that had something to do with it? That we went through a lot of turnover from February up to today? Because last year we opened in October, and until about maybe March, April, we really had the same core people, because we have 24-hour staff. So we have per location 5 employees per location. I don't know. Maybe it's a pandemic.
I had about four people quit. During the pandemic. They were scared of COVID, and I mean, I can't blame them. They're working with it's a high populated, close area that contamination can happen. So it was tough. I lost about 4 people, 4 staff members, and that's another thing, man. You opened up during the pandemic. Wow, what a year to get rocking and rolling, right?
Well, like I said, when I start something, I just go all out, and I knew from day one that I needed to open 3, and the quicker I would have opened the 3, it would have hurt me on the short term. It would hurt me, but I know that I would make it up on the long term. And now we're opened. We're 3 are open.
I was more referring to stress, and we've all been stressed. Even the veterans of 30-some years. This has been a year. whew, yeah, it wasn't for the weak, that's for sure.
My Canadian brother in Florida, there is no stress. Come back to Canada,
okay.
that you would have seen some stress.
Agencies coming every single day. It's like, oh my God, leave us alone and let us do our thing, But we got through it so far. Knock on wood, we still got a ways to go. But, we're trying our best.
I'm fortunate to have a great administrator, Jaretta Love, who's a very
She's a sweetheart.
big people person.
Yes.
So whatever she's lacking in the business side, I'm there. My wife is there, but that helps a lot. And that's the recipe. If you're not a people person, not able to take care of the families, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. We're blessed to have her part of our team.
Yeah, she's awesome. I have met her and she's amazing. And she's got a big personality, that's for sure. That's awesome. Let's talk money a little bit. I don't want to dig. I'm not going to dig in your books. But let's say somebody's opening up. How much money should they have in reserves? Should they be ready to? Because most facilities, you're not going to turn a profit for a little while, at least maybe a little more than a little while. But I mean, to stay on your feet, just keep open. I know that it all depends on size of facilities, things like that. But like from your experience,
like on a 6-bed, again, it all depends. Also, if you were running it day to day, and you don't need to take that salary. Or if you're hiring your caregivers and stuff, that has a lot to do with it. But assuming in my position that I had an administrator and we had caregivers, we have caregivers at night. We don't have no sleep, no staff that are asleep at night. Everybody's awake, so it's 24-hour staffing. In my experience, you're gonna need about 50 to 100,000 in reserves.
Yeah,
and that sounds a little bit high, but that's just like I said. In my situation, you want to work the job, you want to be there, at nighttime. Well, then you can cut that down a little bit, but you got to be.
You're between the ballpark. And that's any business. You open a restaurant, you got to have some backing there. So you need an investor to back you up, in case things run a ground for a little bit until you get on your feet. But it's not as easy as I'm going to change my house to an assisted living facility and the residents are going to come pouring in. It doesn't go that way,
No, unfortunately or fortunately, that's what it was in the past. Run more like a mom and pop. I think that the future of this industry has to be more, not corporate style, but like more professionally run. We take a house that's got to be a minimum of 3,000 square feet. That's the minimum we do. We won't do anything less than that. And we got to put in 6 bedrooms. We're all with private bathrooms. So we're not a type of a home that is 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and you put 6 people. It's a different strategy and a different niche that we're going after, and it's working. Yeah,
so far. I mean, it looks like you did. What I like about you, Tony, is you did your research, you did your homework. You didn't just go blind into this. Okay, you didn't know how to. You didn't have the management stuff as far as that, but you learned that. But as far as the business standpoint, it is a business at the end of the day. Okay, we want to take care of people. We want to take, that story is, it's great, but it's a business also. So you have to do your due diligence as far as business, make sure the numbers are going to match. You have to know to the T to the I, you got to know what you're doing, right? You got to have a plan.
If you don't make the money, how can you take care of the people?
Exactly. Exactly.
At the end of the day, the business has to make the money, so this way you could pay your employees, and and you could do better. So as like our motto is, you do good and you do well. So we're doing good, and we're doing well.
I'm proud of you, Tony. I'm really proud of you. I know when you came over, I did my best to discourage you. Tony came over and came to see me one day. I was like, Tony, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I always test people. I want to see if they got what it takes. You bounce back and you definitely do your thing. But I tell them, hey, this is not for the weak of heart. It's hard work. It's a lot of stress until you get it going and you reach that plateau where you can start hiring staff and everything. But I kind of laid it out for him that it's things are going to change a little bit in your life for a while. And Tony ran with it, and here he is.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And the advice I have also right now, it's a little bit hard for everybody because even the banks and stuff, they don't understand this concept. So it's a little bit hard, but it's going to get better. I've already seen it that we're looking into partnering up with a fund, the HIS Capital Fund, that want to get into this assisted living, especially the residential side of smaller homes. And they're really, really into it. But 2 years ago, it was almost impossible. So
Get
just
it low.
there are people out there that want to get into this business, not as an operator, but more on the passive side. And this fund is a perfect example for us because we're going to be able to expand. And at the end of the day, it's just to give back more to the people and serve more people and give them just better quality residential assisted living.
Yep. You're a busy man, Tony. I don't want to hold you up too much longer, but in closing, somebody's thinking about opening a facility. What's your advice?
Make sure you're in the right demographics, right neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the way we do it is bigger is better. In other words, the bigger home is better than a smaller home. More bathrooms, people like their privacy. So private rooms, private baths, especially on the 6 beds. Mm-hmm. You're just going to be that much different than the person who's next door to you because there is a lot of competition no matter where you go.
And what kind of character should one have to get in this?
You know what? And sometimes I'm missing it, but you need a lot of patience in this business because a lot of things happen. And I'm the first one to say sometimes, you lose your cool. But
well, you're Italian, right?
Yes.
That's what the Italians do.
That's why when I moved to Florida, I was able to relieve my stress level at 50%, but my 50% is maybe more than 200% for someone else. So, but you're learning every day. There's headaches every day, but at the end of the day, it's worthwhile.
Awesome. Tony, again, thanks a lot for jumping on with us, brother. And I'm really proud of what you guys are doing over there. I'll probably try to get over there as soon as this COVID dies down one of these days, and we'll have a drink. All right?
We appreciate it. BellaVitaALF.com. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.